Hello and welcome to my cover of the North American P-51 Mustang. The Mustang was a single-engine fighter from World War II. It was designed in 1940 after the British have requested North American to produce the Curtiss P-40 for them under license. Instead, North American started the designing of a new and better aircraft. On the 9th of September 1940, the prototype NA-73X rolled out of the factory and first got into the air on the 26th of October that year. The initial Mustang Mark I had an Allison V1710 engine, which was a V12 liquid-cooled air engine outputting around 1500 horsepower on takeoff. It lacked a second-stage supercharger, which limits its performance at altitude. In RAF service, it was used as a tactical recon and ground attack aircraft due to the aforementioned altitude problems. The lead engineer of the Mustang project was Edgar Schmude, who was of German origin. They used the newest NECA research, a laminar flow design wing, which under optimal conditions could achieve around 40% laminar flow over its surface. But it's questionable if it had any on the final aircraft. It had the lowest possible frontal area, the radiator was single duct, and the oil and water radiators were combined. This reduced the fuselage drag even more. Later it was realized that the cooling system could take advantage of the Meredith effect, meaning that under optimal conditions the radiators could produce some thrust, which could cancel out their drag even more. The fuselage used lofting for smoother lines, which resulted in even lower drag. As all this should tell the engineers that North American went for speed over everything else. The main reason for the great speed of the Mustang was the extreme attention to lowering the aircraft's parasite drag. The whole aircraft was made out of aluminium, which was polished smooth. So, to sum it up, the Mustang was so fast because of its low parasite drag compared to everything else of the time. If you want to know more about this aircraft, check out Greg's Aircrafts and Automobiles, who has a lot of videos on the P-51 Mustang and how it works and its systems. Links in the description. So, let's cover the in-game performance of the Mustang Mark 1A. The Mustang Mark 1A is a premium aircraft in the British Air 3 at rank 3, battle rating 3.3. The top speed of the aircraft is 604 km an hour at sea level and 631 at 5,200 meters. Once again emphasizing the bad altitude performance of the Allison V1710. You have 1,150 horsepower without VEP and 1,470 with it. With VEP, you are the fastest fighter on the deck at 3.3. The closest thing to you is the French MB-157, which can do around 571 km an hour on the deck. Your wings rip at 855 km an hour, which is very high for this battle rating. Your combat flaps rip at 650, your takeoff flaps at 520 and your landing flaps at 279, but using flaps will bleed a lot of energy, which you need. Turn rate is fairly good, especially if you are going fast. In fact, the faster you go, the better it is. Your armament consists of 4 Hispano Mark II cannons with 500 rounds together. Each one of them has 125 rounds, which is plenty enough for this battle rating. I recommend using the stealth belts, since they do the most damage, but if you still need some tracers for your aim, you should use the ground target belts. And then transit into stealth, because that's the best belt overall. There are no bombs or rockets available for this aircraft. Tactics and strategy in the Mustang Mark 1A. Since you have a relatively low climb rate, you always should side climb to about 4,500 meters. Ideally, you are a boom and zoom fighter thanks to your excellent dive acceleration, very good high speed handling, and high wing grip speed. Your firepower is also great in this role, since you can down any enemy with just a few hits. But you will sooner or later meet a plane higher than you, or at the same altitude. If they are higher than you, you should bait them down and make them overshoot. Then you can kill them as they are flying away. If you get into a turn fight, you can still win, especially versus Russian, American, or German fighters. But against Japanese and Italian aircraft, you should use your great top speed and acceleration, especially in a shallow dive, to get some separation. When it's safe, turn around and go head on with them. With some practice, no one will escape your beams of death. If they are below you, you just dive on them, shoot them down, and convert your speed back into altitude. This also works in a shallow dive or just flying straight due to your extreme top speed. Hit and run is also a good idea since no one will ever catch you. Remember, you lose a lot of energy in a turn, especially if you sustain it for too long, so only start turn fighting if you are absolutely sure about winning it. Alright, welcome to the game. So, as you can see, nearly everyone is above us, as I already mentioned, even though I side climb. But there is this... Alright, I'm not going to follow that guy to the ground. This is not an ideal situation, as you can see, because everyone is at the same altitude as us, or even above us, among us. Sus. Whatever. Alright, I'll go for the Yak 9, because I think that's the most dangerous plane for me. Or maybe that... no, that BF-109 should die to the J2M. Come on. Come here, little one. Alright, I missed, because I'm really bad at aiming. But with a bit better aim he would... oh, he just died. Alright. So, we are doing what this plane is best at, boom and zooming people from high above. And just look at our speed. We aren't losing anything until I start turning, of course. But as soon as I start turning, I start losing a lot of energy. Luckily the I-185 isn't the best aircraft, especially at turn fighting. A couple of things I forgot to mention previously are that this thing overheats like crazily, but you can negate that by using mech and opening the radiators to 100%, because they are low drag radiators, they don't really hinder your performance. And the other thing is, your rudder compresses, but that's true to all Mustangs, apart from the H model, which can make aiming tricky, especially at high speed. Alright, this guy cannot do anything against me in this situation. Unless he shoots me down right now. Uh-oh. Well. That was interesting. Oh, it's a F4. I thought it was the F2, which just could not have done that. That was dumb. But everyone makes mistakes. Well, now that we are in this dark hangar of mine, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back again soon. Goodbye.